Hello everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch Open presented by FACEIT and ELEAGUE. I am Ask Joshi casting with Jorasar. This is our first semi-final for the North American Qualifier number 3. One of these teams is going to be getting an automatic berth into the playoffs. The rest are just going to be scooping up points where they can. And right now, Team Liquid has to battle back against TSM, taking an early 1-0 lead there on Hollywood. And we will be going into, I believe it was Dorado, yes, as game number 2, as that is going to be a full payload map. Yeah. Our pool right now today for this best of 3, no King of the Hill maps.
No, we've been seeing that a little bit more this week. I feel like last week in particular, there was all sorts of mixing it up. We think, I think there was one point, I swear we started on a 2 capture point map and had 2 more King of the Hill maps in the pool.
Yeah,
and I just thought, what? This is madness.
It was Rogue on Anubis. I remember that match.
Yes, that's
great.
right. And now we're getting back to a situation where actually we're seeing 3 payload, or at least mostly payload, and things are normalizing a little bit. So the meta's changing pretty quickly week on week as well. And in the North American scene, it's interesting because you're picking your maps, deciding on your strategies and your opponents, bearing in mind there's no Envious and no Cloud9 to contend with at the moment.
Yeah, and that basically means that the field is wide open, as Envious, of course, being kind of an undisputed best right now. Cloud9 used to hold that mantle before Envious really got their super team together, so both of those teams sitting safely in the playoffs already. That means we have Fnatic, TSM, Team Liquid, and NRG all vying for this week's qualification spot. Team Liquid will have to step it up just a little bit. It was a very close match on Hollywood. Here or there, you know, an ultimate being a little bit earlier or later could have totally changed the entire game. So on Dorado, it really could be anyone's game.
And TSM have been beaten by Liquid before. Of course, these two teams are almost starting to develop a little bit of a rivalry now, and it's great to see Team Liquid maybe switching up the roster a little bit more often, maybe a little less stability there, but like you say, when they actually get those rounds where it counts, when you get the fantastic individual DPS performances, which we might see out of Waz this time around, they are perfectly capable of taking these maps.
Yeah, we were saying before the match even started, a couple of people that we were looking out for. Nicholas, you said, didn't really steal any spotlight in this first map.
No, not really. I mean, he did have the troll Death Blossom, where I thought it was the opposing Reaper that actually did that on Hollywood, and Nicholas managed to get the double kill, but nothing that's going to become the incredible play of the game, unfortunately.
maybe not just yet. There is an opportunity here still to try and secure that for himself. On the defense, looks very, very standard here from Liquid starting out on defense. Harblu does have Roadhog selected, and I have to wonder, last week, since Harblu was featuring the Roadhog very often and they lost, maybe that's the reason he stuck to Zarya this time around on Hollywood and they ended up winning. So really can't argue with that logic.
Maybe.
But on the defense, yeah, everything very standard. Lucio, Zen, we've got the Zarya, Reinhardt once again, and on offense, you're showing some excitement here. What's going on, John?
Oh, that was definitely the Jackie camera angle. Super slick.
Oh, I see. You approve. You approve of the panning.
Of that. We've got the excellent panning work there. Anyway, we're going to be starting the first bit of poking now. Torque will be playing a Reaper. JKW, of course, switched off of Torbjorn on to Reinhardt. No surprises there. Joe Meister once again on Lucio and Shake on Zenyatta. Nicholas might be flanking a little bit with Tracer.
Yeah, Nicholas will be in charge of that, essentially, but we do see the kind of common now death ball sort of strategy where you push the cart all the way up to the underpass. You don't try to shove it through. You actually just move around to the left side steps, and with speed boost, that makes it a pretty trivial, effort of just moving around to the left side just to be able to free yourself up. And of course, anyone can just kind of take a few steps back and push that cart. So it does mess with the defense a little bit. It kind of removes their sight lines thanks to that market, whatever that is, a stand, I suppose, with all the tortillas on it. But Flash over the shield of Reinhardt, not going to get the follow-up. AZK actually getting gunned down very quickly there, combining lots of TSM characters to take him out.
And 2 kills at the moment for Liquid versus just the 1 for TSM. Liquid may well be able to repel this, as you can see everyone moving back through the archway to the cart, and Meza picking up 2 to polish things off. Now, I really like that sort of strategy you highlighted there, Joshy, because at the end of the day, the sightlines going into the archway favor the defenders. They've got the high ground. That's why sometimes you see heroes like Junkrat do so well. But by coming around the marketplace, even if the defenders win the fight, at least it's on even ground in the market and there's a little bit more of a chance.
Yeah, it's really hard to set up everyone unless you just know that they're doing it and you can set up at the bottom of the stairs, but then the high ground advantage goes to the attacker. So it's just a bit of a... It took a while for that play to evolve, but now we see it very, very often. Mezzer does have Earth Shatter available. He could have actually dropped it there under the Reinhardt who was standing on the cart. It would have gone under that shield and hit everyone behind him, but here we go, actually moving in now, triggering Transcendence. There's a Graviton Surge here from the defense. Really hard to see what's happening, unfortunately, as the beat gets dropped for the defense. Torque tries his best to get some action off the Death Blossom. Mezzer goes down, but Waz still in full health. We had Nicholas with the Pulse Bomb, actually taking out several members of the defense. Now following up with a 4th kill. Excellent play there. That might be an incredible play of the game, but Nicholas definitely the driving force here for TSM to get that checkpoint.
Absolutely was, and before then as well, you saw one after the other TSM with Joe Meister using the sound barrier and not a lot happening whilst the sound barrier was active, and then Minstrel using his for Liquid, and I believe Liquid registered no kills on TSM while that was active as well, and Nicholas swoops in after the end of all of that, after all the sound barrier had worn off on Liquid, and said, thank you very much, I'm going to come in and pick up the change.
A single Pulse Bomb can change the tide of battle just by itself. It does over 400 damage if I'm not mistaken, but that's enough to kill essentially anyone in the game except for a couple of tanks, but AZK here up on the high ground has been dazzling us with his McCree play, not just today but yesterday as well. He had a great Tracer round as well if I'm not mistaken, but McCree, the left clicks, here they come out, missing a couple there on Torque as I sing his praises, but then he lands a couple, and it's going to be the payload moving right past the church. Finally, he gets the kill on Torque. Perseverance pays off, and JKW is going to be the next to fall. Now finding those big targets. Harblue on the Zarya is pretty easy to hit there. Joe Meister, one more shot could do it, and he does contribute their ID, getting the killing blow. So Liquid hanging on here, stopping that payload right in front of the church. That's good for them, as it will require a lot of time, and that run up is a lot of time for them to shoot down at the returning players.
It definitely is. The running up there is a little tricky though, Joshy, because at the end of the day, Liquid have the high ground advantage. They're looking, by the way, for Waz to get that ultimate available. We're looking to see when they're going to be able to collect. Oh, is that a little bit premature? Is he doing that on purpose there? Waz didn't quite have his Death Blossom available, so they're going to be improvising here. We have Transcendence coming down for Liquid now. It looks like if they weren't going to be committing before, they certainly are now. Waz still holding the Death Blossom in his back pocket. Not too much going on. Just Torque getting taken out by AZK, who's pretty big as well. But now Waz able to take people out, still keeping the ultimates available. It looks like he's just not going to need to use it here.
It's very interesting, actually. It looked like the kills were starting to pile up for Liquid. Mezzer, the only person to be lost on the defense, and that was right at the very end after he used his Earth Shatter for that cleanup. So Liquid going to be fine with that. 5-for-1 exchange builds the ults favorably for them. Minstrel and Waz both have theirs available for the next push. TSM with only a Pulse Bomb and Transcendence, really hard, difficult to combo those two compared to a Graviton Surge and a Death Blossom, for example.
Sure.
Waz still with that Death Blossom can jump down at any moment, anytime he senses weakness. Wait for Reinhardt to get past, and there it is. Transcendence is going to get triggered immediately. They knew it was coming, but JKW still falls, and as they move forward, Sound Barrier is going to come out on both sides. AZK triggering the Deadeye, not going to find anything from it, but the flash onto Torque will force him to Wraithwalk. It looks like offense finally getting something going, though. Shake gets a couple of kills. Torque and Nicholas combining to clean up, and Shake manages to survive as Waz gets picked off. That should be an easy checkpoint now for TSM.
Commendation to AZK. That flashbang actually hit Torque as he was using a Death Blossom as well. That was about as good a timing as you can get to shut that down. Unfortunately, the rest of TSM came on him like a ton of bricks, and there was nothing he could do about it. As a result, we move into the final phase here on Dorado, and Nick, Torque, and co are certainly doing a decent job so far. We'll see if Team Liquid can delay this further at the last.
With a Pulse Bomb available and the Graviton Surge, we could be seeing a nice combination. ID slowly trying to build back up from 0 power here on Zarya, barely doing any damage with that right click at the moment, but a few spot bubbles can get her up to max energy pretty soon. AZK safe behind the Reinhardt shield, doing what he can. If you have nothing to shoot at, you can always at least take out the Reinhardt shield, but a great kill there onto Joe Meister. Now looking for Torque, gonna try and force him to Wraithwalk, but the Transcendence and Graviton Surge all coming out now to hang. Does manage to keep Liquid alive pretty well. There's a Death Blossom, sorry, excuse me, a Deadeye available for AZK. Good discipline there not to use it. Does barely let a couple of the attackers slip away, but Liquid has to feel good about that. More time being burned off the clock while TSM regroups.
Now, TSM have to be a little bit careful now, because 2.5 minutes is plenty of time, but it will take, I don't know, maybe they probably have 3 or 4 team wipes before they actually start getting properly nervous, but they don't want it to come to that. They have ultimates to use at the moment. Unfortunately for them, Team Liquid have 4 available as well, and like you say, the discipline that AZK showed there will allow him to use Deadeye during this engagement. It looks like everybody's coming into the room on the left-hand side.
Yeah, the only ults missing on both sides are the sound barrier. Transcendence gets triggered immediately. Waz Wraith walks to get into a better position. Looks like he wanted to potentially Death Blossom, but finding that kill on Zarya definitely helps things out. 2 members of the offense already down. Nicholas falls as well, and Liquid already have this fight in hand. No way that they're going to let this slip. 3v6. Shake goes down now as well. Harblue switching off of the Zarya onto Roadhog for this last stretch. Kind of an interesting move, but after using the Graviton Surge, now is the best time to do it. Maybe he can get some instant kill combos. If he can find McCree very quickly, that could definitely benefit them.
Yeah, Harblue is very, very good at picking out those heroes that might stagger in, for example. So if you switch off to a Tracer going, I'm going to delay the point, and the moment you show your face outside of your spawn point, you get a hook, that tends to be rather useful indeed. But Liquid now setting up their defense once again on top there on the bridge, waiting for opportunities to come down. Harblue looking for an opening, won't be able to find it. And here comes Reaper. Excellent stun, and he is going to go down. Waz not able to get the impact that he wanted to there. And now Transcendence coming out. Oh, and JKW, Minstrel getting the kill on that, actually. And Harblue is now running for his life. Unfortunately, this attack seems to be going a little bit cold, and Liquid can comfortably hold a little longer.
Yeah, losing their tank JKW before he get a chance to use Earthshatter is actually pretty detrimental to them. Joe Meister did pop a sound barrier during that fight too, so they are really lacking on offensive tools. We've got Liquid here sitting with 3 ultimates comfortably. ID and AZK could combine for Graviton Surge Deadeye. We've got AZK still unthreatened as Roadhog did miss a couple of hooks. Zarya bubbles have been on point to keep people alive, and this time is no exception. ID with the Graviton Surge catches almost everybody, and 4 people fall so quickly that it is going to force the remaining 2 attackers to just feed themselves into the grinder. 30 seconds left now for TSM to make something happen. They've got one more opportunity and no ults to do it.
This is it for TSM. They need this to work, and they need it to be able to go all the way. They will not have time to regroup. It absolutely is now. If they want to be able to set a time against Team Liquid, they'll have to do it in overtime. We can see them rushing across. They know there's absolutely no time to waste here. 5 seconds. They won't even be able to get onto the high ground. Team Liquid are going to have that advantage. D.Va popping down straight away. ID switching onto him. And now we'll see what's going to happen. Can Torque get the kills he needs with Deadeye? Harblue and Torque combined, getting 3, now 4 between them. Nicholas joining in the fight as well. And at the very last, TSM might be able to do this. Harblue looking for targets, looking for hooks. Is there a Tracer coming out? Can they complete this in overtime? Yes, they do!
The Death Blossom in the face of the returning defenders seals the deal. Nicholas even got a kill out of that on Waz, but I said there were no ultimates. Actually ended up being 4 ultimates over the course of that fight because they stayed alive so long, played very conservatively, long enough for Torque to get that Deadeye, long enough for Harblue to get the Whole Hog ultimate. Everything finally went their favor right at the end, and they're going to set an over 9 minutes time here on Dorado thanks to that overtime, I believe. But AZK, we did see some great play out of him. Waz had some nice Reaper play. Everything for TSM looked really bad until the very end. I thought they were going to hold in that last delivery room, I'll say.
Yeah, but I mean, let's put things in perspective, right? It's not going to be the fastest time in the world that's been set here. By the way, that Graviton Surge was absolutely disgusting.
After seeing that, how could you think TSM? How could you think TSM was going to win the game after seeing that brutal play? I know, that was absolutely fantastic. Really nice. And again, this isn't the first time today that we have seen teams come back. This is their last chance. And they seem to find something extra. There's a little bit more gas in the tank. And now TSM set a 9:21. But I'll tell you what, 9:21 is a lot better than distance. That's true. Setting a time at all, it means that they can hold at any point. If they can just run the clock, they will be victorious. And I have to say, Torque, again, just the DPS player here for TSM, definitely performing very well here for TSM, not just on Hollywood, but here on that final push as McCree finding the targets that he needed to put the cart away. Definitely helping out TSM. So on the defense, the only thing that looks out of place maybe a little bit is Waz on the defensive Genji rather than the Reaper that we normally see. While on the other side, it's essentially mirrored. Torque is going to be playing that... Oh, sorry, defense is the red side this time around. My bad. Torque is going to be on that defensive Tracer, which is actually kind of interesting anyway. And Nicholas will be on that Reaper. But the offense, Genji does definitely make sense as he is going to be normally flanking all the way back around by the church, potentially by shortcut. Torque, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Torque is actually going. Is Torque going around back to maybe stop flankers, or is Torque actually providing DPS in the front lines himself? We'll find out in just a moment as the teams prepare to engage here on the second half of Dorado. Waz now popping round back on Genji. Shake will, of course, spot him there, so he does need to be ever so slightly careful. Discord Orb. Genji doesn't have that many hit points to begin with.
And Team Liquid now, they need to beat a rather generous conservative time set by TSM, but a time has been set and they will still be held to account.
Back in olden times, the Genji would have just dove that Zenyatta. He said, this is who you've left to defend against me, and would have just run in there and just triple star comboed him to death, but with 200 HP, Zen is actually a good enough deterrent by himself to keep Genji from getting the drop on everyone. So he went for the shortcut, but didn't actually go all the way around toward Church, which we have seen a couple of times this weekend.
Yeah, we have indeed, actually going all the way through. That's not going to be happening this time around. There's no Winston to combo with that as well on the side of Team Liquid. Hang on a second, we have a massive charge in from TSM trying to get a couple of picks off, but JKW just gets his head lopped off as a reward for that, unfortunately. And now Team Liquid are moving in. They smell blood. Can they actually make this work? ID at the moment on top of the payload with a 66 charge, comfortably enough to do a lot of damage on Zarya. Transcendence now being forced out of TSM. Is this going to be the time where Torque is going to be able to get a few kills? He is about to get Pulse Bomb. Can we make something work here?
Pulse Bomb is going to come out against the Deadeye, but Dragon Blade is actually active for Waz right now. I'm not sure how much killing he's actually done, but Mezzer and AZK are able to work with it and eliminate the the defending side, and Liquid will push this first checkpoint with a combination of kills from AZK and Mezzer. Waz, Dragon Blade, I have to imagine, sunk a lot of damage in. He wasn't in the kill feed at all, but definitely always a scary presence.
Yeah, I get the feeling that Waz contributed a lot of the damage to AZK, maybe getting those final hits in as well, because we did see 2 or 3 in very quick succession in that kill feed, and I believe that was without the use of a Deadeye as well. So very nice combo there from the DPS players on Team Liquid. We now move on to the Church phase. TSM, are they looking for an early collapse here? I mean, Nicholas is not quite there with his ultimate, and wow, Reinhardt going in very early on. Graviton Surge coming out from ID, not allowing TSM to go anywhere indeed. Was that a mistake? They're certainly feeling it is right now. That is 5 out of 6 gone, and Shake, well, he can kiss that goodbye. That is a complete team wipe in favor of Team Liquid. There was no Nicholas ultimate there. There was no Deadeye, and they collapsed in anyway. I wonder if JKW was a bit early there.
Perhaps. I think we can't really call it a mistake just because I feel like ID's Graviton Surge is what kind of threw them off, and if they weren't prepared for it, that would be certainly a mistake, and it did kind of pull them apart. The payload was actually in the middle of it, kind of created some awkwardness. Great Deadeye there from the attacking AZK. He falls in the end, but 3-for-1 trade is definitely nothing to sneeze at. Waz here as the Genji should be able to get the follow-up with the rest of his team, and you can see them starting to drop like flies. Torque is going to go down as the final defender, but Liquid definitely seem on pace to try and beat 6 minutes here just for the last stretch. Liquid
are waking up. Waz maybe a little bit less inspiring in the first map, but he has certainly been dishing out the damage this time around. And we'll see if he can continue to help his team push forward. ID, of course, frankly, everyone on Liquid just performing rather well at the moment. Hang will be looking to see his Transcendence timing as well popping out in this final section. And here comes the collapse from TSM.
Death Blossom immediately comes out, but Nicholas gets shut down by AZK. McCree is so good at stopping that Death Blossom, and he does get the follow-up kill. Torque on the defense finds kills on Waz and AZK, so that's the DPS down. ID falling as well means that the defense should be able to hang on here without that payload moving much further. You can see Shake and Harblu just sticking next to the cart, not allowing Reinhardt to push it any further. Mezzer gets hooked, and that is going to be it for this push. Minstrel does escape with his life, but it's essentially a reset either way. Oh no, never mind, spoke too soon. Hook combo from Harblu is what we expect to see out of him, and the fact that he went for the kill and got it bought his team 10 more seconds at least.
What a task, though, in front of TSM right now, Joshy. I mean, there is still... we're basically looking at the game timer right now. There's just under 5 minutes to complete the map. There's a lot of team pushes in this for Team Liquid. They do not need to panic yet, and it will be a long time before they do.
Yeah, any ground that they can gain per fight is going to add up, even if it's only 10 meters each time. So ID with a Graviton Surge here doesn't catch anyone. He tried to snag the Reinhardt charging through, but actually Reinhardt can charge out of Graviton Surge, so it stands to reason that it wouldn't grab him anyway. Yep. Shake is going to go down as well, but now Liquid is surging forward. Waz already looking at that defensive spawn. This could be it. Liquid trying to force that game 3. They do not want to go home early. They want to make it to that grand final and face the winner of Fnatic NRG. So I think they have likely done it here. Waz keeping Harblu occupied long enough for that payload to push up. Not sure who's actually contesting. It looks like Transcendence out for the attacking team. Torque on the defense with the Deadeye, but almost no targets there for him. They hide behind that payload very well. Mezzer with the shield up. Zarya barriering everyone. Torque gets down to 20 health, but does fall. Liquid's still looking good here. Shake popping the Transcendence, trying to give them a last hope here. The tanks are doing their best. I'm running out of breath. Jorisar, take it away.
There's still 4 minutes left to go for Team Liquid. Now Minstrel pops the sound barrier, giving them a little bit of extra stamina. 5 out of 6 players are dead, and Torque is not going to be extremely quick on that McCree. And that is going to lead, ragdoll physics much, to Team Liquid there, taking the game on Dorado.
All right, they had a lot of time to work with. You were totally right. Like, it was going to be a super tall order for TSM to try and hold that for 5 solid minutes. And Liquid just got through the first couple of checkpoints so easily that, yeah, just the momentum carried them through here. There's that last kill on the Lucio, but Team Liquid do force a game number 3. They're not ready to go home just yet. They're not satisfied with points. They want that automatic berth.
Exactly right. So those of you who have been watching the rivalry between these two teams on the Overwatch Open, it is very delicately poised, and Team Liquid have awoken. They have taken a game off of TSM. It's 1-0 going into the third and final map, which will be now on Watch Point Gibraltar. We're going in for a quick break, and when we return, can Liquid complete the turnabout?